The natural beauty of some corners of the world is truly breathtaking. Now, I am not auditioning for a Bob Ross double here. I just, I don't know, there's some parts that are really, really cool. And when you take a country like the Netherlands, I mean, come on, look at this. I mean, it's just truly beautiful. Who would want to harm such a great place? I mean, just a truly beautiful place. Well, I've got the answer, okay? It is allegedly Sony. Yeah, that is right. So yes, this is a lawsuit that actually started in February, 4 months ago, but this just had an update. But anyway, this is a lawsuit from a Netherlands-based law firm with a name that I'm going to botch because it's in Dutch, Massachade Consument. I gave it the old college try, we'll call it close enough. So yes, February, they actually did file this lawsuit on Sony. Now today, 4 months later, on Tuesday, June 24th, they have released an update on this class action lawsuit against Sony. They say today, well, you already heard me try to pronounce it. So, today they have summoned Sony in a collective lawsuit on behalf of Dutch PlayStation players. Dutch meaning the people that live in the Netherlands. I know that's stupid. A lot of you probably know that, but I always forget that just because the two names just kind of don't seem to match. But yeah, that's what that means. But anyway, in February, the foundation, it says, announced the case after economic research showed that Sony had been exploiting its dominant position in the console market for at least 10 years and denying other potential app store access to the PlayStation, and as a result, at least 1.7 million Dutch PlayStation owners pay too much for digital and in-game content. So yes, in a nutshell, this whole lawsuit is alleging that the digital games that are sold on the PlayStation platform are actually charged way more than they should when compared to physical disc games, and this is really taking into consideration, I wanted to say fact. I gotta be careful here. I guess I don't know that's a fact, but I believe it's a fact that digital game distribution would, I guess, be, cheaper on these supply sort of things versus physical, since you don't have to pay for a disc or, the cost to actually physically ship it to a store. All right, I gotta put my money where my mouth is. I gotta look this up here. One sec. Okay, yes, I was doubting myself a little too much, so I needed some confirmation bias there. Yes, it does look like digital is far more cheaper. So yes, this lawsuit is basically saying that they are overcharging since this should be cheaper. I see that you still can, sign up for this because, like I said, this is a class action lawsuit. This was announced 4 months ago, and speaking of that, I was definitely wondering as an update, how many people have signed up. Well, it says with the Fair PlayStation campaign that was launched in February, the foundation managed to attract more than 20,000 participants in the first few days. And it goes on to basically say that they have found that people are paying 47% more when paying for digital versus physical, even though it is the exact same game, and for physical, it would make more sense to pay more, not less. And they also say that in these recent months since the campaign started, they have received more than 2,000 messages and emails from PlayStation owners who identify themselves, they recognize themselves in this very situation, basically not being on the very good end of this whole alleged 47% increase. So what is the update today? What makes today special versus 4 months ago, besides just all of the people that have signed up? Well, that is the announcement that PlayStation and Sony, they have been summoned to court officially, and it basically says they're making two accusations against Sony, that they exclude competition and that they exploit consumers and game developers. So going forward, it says the first hearing may take place later this year. The jurisdiction of the Dutch court and the admissibility of the foundation will initially be discussed. If the court ultimately grants the claims, the foundation expects that this will force Sony to open the market for the sale of digital PlayStation content to other providers. Now that could mean a lot of different things. I don't know if that means that the supply of PlayStation games would theoretically have to go on other platforms, like we get like a God of War game or something on an Xbox or a Nintendo console, something like that. Or if they're speaking more broadly, that a lot of these other third-party stores like your Steam or your Epic Games, they would have the right to have a platform on the PlayStation console as well. Ultimately, though, it does sound like they are trying to get rid of this so-called Sony tax of 47% on digital games. I do have to say, if this is true, yeah, it really doesn't make sense to do that. I mean, digital is cheaper to make, it's cheaper to distribute. Doesn't really make sense. I don't really know why Sony would be doing this, so we will see what actually ultimately comes out in court.